Hello, hello, welcome into the summer split. It is the LCS Challengers League. We are here. We are back. It is great to be here. Almost done with our first week of play already. And I am Magical alongside Kangas, the shorty over here, and Beatdown all the way on the other side.
I can go on my temperature. Here, I have a chair.
Don't lean the camera into the mic.
Yeah.
We all know how that goes.
Who's short now, Magical?
Still you, because you have to be on a chair in order to be taller than me. So, you know.
I'll stand closer to my camera. How about that?
There we go.
No, please. I just asked you not to do that.
And then I'm like, no, do it. Get closer, because then it makes your head look really big because you're closer to the camera.
We don't want to flashbang the camera again.
That's what I was worried about. I thought you were keeping Kangas, come on.
All right. Well, it's good to have both of you here. It is also good to be back and mess with Kangas as always. But I'm excited for what we have in store today because, more games to be played, back with Challengers League. What has really stood out for both of you? Let's start with you, Steve, on what you've really been enjoying so far, because we're almost done with our first week already.
I've been enjoying the smack talk. I'm not going to lie. I feel like the players are just more vocal during the interviews after the games talking with them. We had Shochi literally calling out people yesterday.
I did hear that.
Saying who the frauds were in the league. I mean, obviously with the offseason and everything that happened, I think that a lot of the players that are on teams coming into this split have a very different perspective of look, let's just have fun, right? Let's just be ourselves. And I think that, we're catching up as a broadcast, getting to that point as well. So highlighting the players, I think already we're doing a great job of that in the first 2 days.
And Beat, I'm going to get your opinion in just a sec, but let's highlight the teams really quick just to show everyone all the 10 teams that we have in the league, because there was a big shakeup coming in from spring to summer. Instead of 16 teams, it is 10 teams. We have 3 challenger teams, and we have 7 affiliated teams, with DSG Disguise jumping in, as well as Team Fish Tacos, while Maryville and Supernova both had made it through promotions. So it's really awesome to see all these teams. And now, Beat, I'll get your opinion on all the things that you have been excited for through this first week.
It's pretty crazy to see how many teams have really changed. The only teams with few differences are EGC, TLC, FLYC. Okay, maybe, as I started that sentence, we got half our teams in the league staying the same. But what's really exciting to me is that a lot of teams are new, not just even the teams who promoted from the tournament there just a couple of months ago. Even they've had some roster shakeups, so it's nice seeing those fresh orgs, teams, faces, and everything, and some of them have been surprising us a little bit.
We got a logo that's a taco with a fish in it, and a logo that
literally just says DSG.
I think Disguise actually just drew that himself, if I know the lore correctly.
I think so too, and I think it was in an MS Paint as well, just really quickly.
Of course it is. Yeah,
just needing something slapped together. So I always love those kind of logos. Those are always the most fun. And speaking of fun logos, we also have had a lot of our open qualifiers running in tandem with the streams. The last 2 days, we actually had each day open up with the open qualifiers. That we got to see a lot of these upcoming teams that maybe, the organizations are upcoming, but the players, we have seen a lot of their stories many a time here on the Challengers League themselves.
Shout outs to all the open qualifier casters and broadcasters that are also doing it, because that happens before our show on the Saturdays, Sundays. I know Summer we got on, along with Grapes, on the other stream right now, so happy to get some of them on our show too. But they've been following along the action. I am not caught up on all these. Beatdown, have you gotten a chance to see any of the open qualifier games yet?
No, I mean, I was away this weekend. It took all I had just to catch up to the games.
Wait, neither of you were just watching beforehand? It was literally before our broadcasts. While rehearsals would be going on.
Broadcast.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Two
no,
monitors?
you're right,
Magical.
You're right, Magical. So why don't you talk to us about it a little bit? Why don't you get me into detail about some of these teams? Let's go.
In one Mirage Alliance, you have Alorum, you have Chad on the team. That team's really exciting. You have another collegiate collegiate team in Winthrop that has been playing. Blue Otter, I think, is just a funny logo. Same with Komodo.
Are we allowed to show the Cheese Chasers logo? Is that copyrighted? I don't know if we're going to get in trouble for that.
I don't know. We're showing it anyways. And also Lit, I believe Dragoon is on Lit Esports. And so Dragoon's a player that I'm really excited about, always excited about. I really want to see him in the Challengers League one day. But these are the 16 teams that actually were able to qualify through the open qualifiers. So they'll be moving on into the playoff version of the first OQ.
Froggy 5 is the name of a team. That's my favorite. Just
not the Cheese Chasers. I mean, how you play League of Legends, I would have thought it would have been that.
Shout out to the grandpas, though.
Wow, that's kind of messed up.
Grandpas gamers.
Steve and I play very similar. We're both cheesers. We both just play the game to mesh with people.
True. I wish it
It's so true. All right, but let's move on to some community shout-outs. Manui actually had an awesome tweet that we get to see because there was a 1-1 split for Cincinnati Fear. They started off day 1 with an 0-2, unfortunately, but they did bounce back, even though game 1 seemed like they were going to win it. And honestly, it should have been a 2-0 for Cincinnati Fear, but at least they were able to bounce back in game 2.
I want to jump off something here real quick at the end there. Sorry for the bad gameplay to everyone and myself. I've never seen that before, a player apologizing to themselves, but Manui, step 2 is forgive yourself. Refocus, get ready for the games today, and we know what you're capable of. You had an incredible second half of the split in spring, hoping that you can get back to that soon.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they do, honestly. Like I said, they bounced back in game 2. We've seen the power of Cincinnati Fear. They do have 2 new players on the team, but they still have 3 of the 5 remaining from that miracle run that they had where no one expected them to get nearly as far as they did. But continuing to move on, continuing to look at more community posts that we have. We have this one right here, which you can walk us through because this was actually during your time on the A stream because I was on the B stream while this was going on.
Yes, Lens had a fantastic performance. They did pick up the 2-0 against Evil Geniuses, too. Very impressive stuff. So, shout-outs to Lens there. And, yeah, the Aphelios was pretty disgusting. No surprise, we've seen a lot of Aphelios this weekend.
It's pretty good.
It is one of the premier picks. And Lucian, I mean, the 80-carry champion pool is very small and honestly doesn't feel any different from spring.
Maybe you might be onto something there. No.
I thought you had some. I was hoping you were gonna be like, nah, man, just start banning them. Let's expand the champion pool.
There are more powerful champions that need to be banned. If you're not banning Milio, you're trolling. Anyways, I mean,
you're right.
Big ups to Lens. He is definitely one of the more exciting players, too, and good on him for getting the 2-0.
Yeah, and moving on to the next one, the next tweet that we have from the community, so that we can keep shouting this out. I will say, not only do I love DSG's logo, but I love the fact that all the players have been embracing the drawings that were associated with their roster announcement, and we've embraced it as a broadcast too. Have you noticed, Pete? Because I know you weren't on the last 2 days, that whenever Disguise is playing and we go through the roster, we actually put up these pictures instead of their player photos.
Oh wow, no, I actually didn't. So that's pretty awesome. I like the drawings too. I'm trying to figure which champion this is. I'm wondering if it's Kali.
Come on. It's Kali, man. It's a Kali.
Yeah, that's what I figured. But like her 2, I'm not getting particular about it. It's a nice drawing. I'm just gonna leave it. Happy for you, Young.
Yeah, I think it's Lucian for Meech, it's a Kali for Young, and it's Jax for Fake God. So I think that those are the champions, and then Tomio and Zazel don't get a champ, unfortunately. They just get their role. But let's move on. We still got more that we got to talk about today. We have one more tweet here from Tomio himself. I promise I'm not such wanting one.
I'll believe it when I see it.
The allegations. You're not
legit.
I mean, let's see. Let me look at my notes really quick. Let's see what else he's played. He's played Kha'Zix. They lost, but he's played it.
Fair enough. They did have a rough strength of schedule in their first 2 games, so still 2-2 is very impressive.
Yes, it's still very impressive. It's also nice to see. We have one more tweet. I thought that was the last one. We got one more community tweet that we can go through. It's from Breezy AOE, a 2-0. AOE tied right now in first place, 3-1 to start off the season.
Pretty impressive run from them so far. I am loving Breezy. Also, even without Meech around, he's still looking very impressive. And I think he's one of the premier supports developing in the region. Excited to see where he can go.
Well, it's also, I think we have a really large pool of supports as well. Like Breezy's there, Zazel, we got to talk about. But I already kind of hinted at the standings, so let's really quickly look at the standings so we can get into the matches of the week. Like I said, there is a tie. It is a 4-way tie for first place, with 3 wins for AOE, FlyQuest, Team Liquid, and for Wildcard. So, Pete, because you weren't on the last 2 days, what is the biggest standout for you?
I mean, the biggest standout for me is the most exciting thing for me is honestly Wildcard and FlyQuest, because they are 2 teams who got new top laners coming through, who effectively, got players who we believe deserved a chance in Faisal and Sabudo. So I'm really excited about those rosters in general. And just from the first looks I saw from that team, they fit like a glove. It's exactly what they needed as a roster. And I imagine those are two of they're going to stay on this left side of the board, basically.
Well, we'll have to find out because we got 6 weeks of regular play that we got to get through. We still have one more day in week 1. And speaking of that day, let's check out our matches of the day because we start off with a spicy one. Team Liquid Honda Challengers, FlyQuest Challengers. Then we move on to the food fight of Team Fish Taco and Disguise, rounding out the day with what I would dub the heart of amateur from both Supernova and Wildcard. So, Steve, which one is it going to be the first one that you're most excited about?
Well, I think the first one's the easiest one to get hype about. These are two of the teams that were in top 4 last spring, and we have really high expectations for both of these rosters this summer. Two of the LCS orgs that kept the rosters, too. So, just that alone, many LCS orgs dropped their required teams, and these two committed to the summer. So, shout-outs to them, and shout-outs to these players that are about to hit the Rift.
And speaking of keeping your entire roster, let's look at our first team that we have in our first matchup of the day. Team Liquid Honda Challengers, all 5 players the same. Pete, talk to me. Give me your input.
There's a lot of good things about this roster. They already made a top 3 finish in their first split together as that 5-man unit, and nothing is changing. I'm pretty sure this is the only team that's actually gone unchanged from spring to summer this year. It has our MVP of spring, Mir himself, of course, the most exciting player to talk about here. But you look across the board, like this is a team that we project to be in the top 3, along with FlyQuest and DSG, and it's why this matchup is very exciting because a lot of who we project to be the top teams are playing each other, and it's continuing today.
Technically, Maryville also coming in with an unchanged roster, but they qualified. They qualified later.
But they're new. Yeah, it's a new org.
Their new team doesn't count.
It's a new org 2 to the tier 1, so it doesn't count. Then when you also look over on the other side of the Rift, who Team Liquid Honda Challengers are facing off against FlyQuest Challengers, they only changed 1 player. 4 of the 5 remaining the same. Faisal coming in from Cincinnati Fear. Kangas. I'm hyped about Faisal joining the team.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to mince words. In my opinion, Faisal is the reason Fear was able to get top 4 last split. Everybody else on the roster had their moments, but Faisal was the most consistently just winning them games.
We're trolling Perry a little bit, but you're kind of right.
Yeah, there were literally games that they should have lost, and because Faisal was on the roster, they won. Now he's with FlyQuest Challengers, and this team is looking fierce. We know Masu is a hyped-up player. Yuji has been incredible already in their first 2 series, and, this roster was scary last spring. They're my favorites to take the whole thing this summer.
Yeah, and I'm glad you kind of touched on Masu. I'm going to give this one to you, Beat, because Masu is a player that he was the big carry of FlyQuest Challengers in spring. This guy performed out of his mind, outperformed everyone's expectations.
The Wi-Fi wizard.
Exactly. That name came through for a reason, Alex. If you were watching in spring, fans at home know that he was a player who kind of jumped in at the very end in the second half of summer last year and just surprised everybody with how good he was performing. And that just continued here with FlyQuest. Of course, ping issues, but he still took it like a champ, still had some great performances. And once Winsome came through and he got on site with the rest of the team, FlyQuest were unreal.
And that was also something that we have to talk about, is that Masu had to play with Ketong before, then with Winsome. And in fact, in their second series that they played in spring was when Winsome joined in and they faced off against Team Liquid Honda Challengers. That was actually their second opponent they faced off against with their whole roster actually together. So Beat, when we look at this game, it was a 2-0 for FlyQuest Challengers.
Right, and some of us were skeptical on whether or not Winsome joining would turn this team around right away. And those questions were taken out of the picture immediately. Although TL had an admirable series, Winsome fit this team like a glove, like some fast-acting glue to allow the rest of the roster to really start to work together. And all the players shout him out for it. That experience he brought from subbing for FlyQuest LCS for so many weeks really came in clutch. He even credits it himself.
Yeah, and playing with Masu, I think, is also something that was really big for Winsome, a player that he really brought a lot of shot calling. And when you play with the new support that's got these hands, right? Kangas, I know you were super excited with them. When we did our little player shoutouts that we were trying to like build up all these players, you chose Masu and won the challenge with that one.
Yeah, that's right.
This is a guy that we're all really hyped about.
So if anybody doesn't know the Masu story, also when Winsome joined was, I believe, the second or third week where Masu was actually in LA playing on like 0 ping. Because he's from Canada. And the crazy story that we found out was that he was playing in his tryouts for the team and in the first 2 weeks of the Challengers series in spring. He was playing on Wi-Fi. Literally no Ethernet cable. Good. On like 120 plus ping. Finally makes it to LA. We saw some growing pains. He was cleansing a little early on Ash Schultz. He was positioning a little incorrectly because he wasn't used to the ping. But then when Winsome joined is when he was finally getting comfortable, and that powerhouse meant that they were able to win. And Masu has kept the momentum going. We already see some highlights from the weekend so far. He's had incredible performances, specifically in big team fight situations. This moment was crazy where he's able to survive way longer than they should have. I mean, the game was pretty much over by this point anyway, but still big for them to bring it back. And then switch up the mashup on the Lucian or the Aphelios, doesn't matter. He does the same play basically in the same location 2 different days. And yeah, I think there's a clear reason why we're excited about Masu as a player. It's very rare that we find these kinds of stories of somebody who's so early in their career, who just was a diamond player who said, well, let's just try to get Challenger, hits it in like 3 weeks, and then starts trying out for teams and has had this kind of fast
not even trying out
curve.
real quick. What happened was it was literally Kitsuo and Robbie Bob who knew him on the ladder, and then when they made team pending, they're like, hey, you're kind of sick, you want to play? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then that's how it started. That's it.
Yeah, it was his first experience, and here we have a wonderful head-to-head graphic because he's playing up against someone with a huge history in League of Legends, in Arrow, back with KT Arrows way back in the day. But we've already seen this. Masu's putting up numbers equivalent to a world's caliber player.
Yeah, so I know that there's a lot of people that will always argue, I believe incorrectly, but they'll argue, oh, veteran players have no, you know, they shouldn't be in this league. They shouldn't be playing. I love players like Arrow being here because now we get to see them against Masu.
Yes.
This is a mountain for Masu to climb. If he can take down Arrow again, it already happened back last spring, but if you can make that a regular occurrence, that builds up the legacy of a player like Masu when we can compare the history and veteranship of Arrow compared to the fresh hands of this young AD carry.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so excited about this. Always will, and I'm glad you talked about that, Steve, because I'm with you. I think having veterans along with rookies is great because you got to test your mettle against them. And
makes more hype when the rookies win then, because it's overcoming a bigger obstacle.
It makes it very hype, but we are ready for our game. We got game number 1 between Team Liquid Honda Challengers and FlyQuest Challengers. Also, before I give it to you guys, make sure you subscribe out there, because if you subscribe, it goes out to the players. 50% is shared between the players and the organization, so you can help them out. Help out amateur, help out semi-pro, help out this league. Subscribe now. And now,
the emotes.
There you go.
Cool emotes.
We got the emotes right there, but this is where I will give it to you. Kangas, beatdown, get us in game 1.
Thank you, Magical. Quick shout out. That's the Path to LCS emotes that I just flew up on screen. There's 2 different channels you can sub to for 2 different bundles of emotes. Either way, the revenue is split between the TOs and the players, so you are directly putting money in their pockets for every sub that you give us, whether it's a Prime one or one from your own pocket. So thank you, everybody who has already. It's been a fun weekend for that beatdown.
It has been. Really appreciate you. As the ad says, everyone is doing their part. And if you want to do your part, you know what to do.
Salute the players.
Hit the subscribe. That's right.
All right. Well, we're getting into pick and ban for game number 1 here. Team Liquid Challengers versus FlyQuest Challengers. Again, 2 of the 3 LCS orgs that have kept their Challengers rosters.
Right.
And there's already history between them from last spring. Very exciting stuff because they are both considered potential favorites for taking the entire title this summer. Catching up on the bans, Olaf, Viego, Maokai. We are banning out Yuji. This guy has been on fire all weekend. And Team Liquid do not want to give him any of those comfort picks.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, Yuji, I mean, has so many picks in the pool. He's already played several different champions. He also played the Kazakhs. At one point, had a really good performance on that too. I want to see if he goes that route. The Olaf ban is most interesting to me because the top meta is in such an interesting place where Olaf is a champion, where he's just so good into a lot of the matchups, and a lot of the team comps people end up drafting for themselves. So we don't usually see that priority, but I like that it's out of the picture. And this is interesting. Usually one of the two of these enchanters are out of the picture, but it's actually just going to be the handshake. Milio for the Yuumi.
Yeah, okay, so the jungle focus from TLC and also bot lane focus from FlyQuest with the Zeri and Draven gone meant that the kind of OP, if we want to call them that, enchanter supports are up, so they basically handshake saying Milio for the Yuumi. Aphelios selecting with the Yuumi. We're back to this meta, everybody. I know, as tough as it is to see this every single game. But I wonder what Team Liquid is going to lock in for Arrow here, because there's a lot of things that you can pair with the Emilio. The fact that you get that extra attack range is kind of insane. I love it with things like Kog'Maw if you're trying to scale up. I even think, I don't know how viable this is, but I've been getting rocked by Kalista Emilios lately because the range is so long, you can actually get super aggressive in lane.
I'm pretty sure it's the next patch where like Kalista's back. So we're not there yet.
I'm excited for it, yeah.
Me too, I love Kalista. But I like that they're holding it back for now. They're securing some of those line picks in the top side and the jungle position, because the Cassante really makes the most sense, especially with the Olaf ban. Absolutely destroys him. It's a good pickup there. Bradley being pretty strong on the tank picks towards the end of last bit, despite some of his struggles. But on champs like this, he usually performs.
I do love the Vi against things like the Aphelios Yuumi, because Aphelios does not have a lot of mobility himself, and while the Yuumi, yes, can speed you up a little bit, give you a shield, also has a little bit of slow and crowd control, you can't do much to stop a Vi from just pressing R on the Aphelios.
Yeah,
so now I'm expecting Team Liquid... Yeah, it's unstoppable. I'm expecting Team Liquid to grab something else that will be a damage threat to also follow up on that dive, or something maybe longer range to snipe it out once they land that. So FlyQuest Challengers, they're going to be in a position where they have to either decide, do we want to try and go for more counter engage, the Gragas can kind of function as that, or block things from getting around the map. So I actually do like this TF ban.
It's good. I mean, TLC have been prioritizing that pick more and more. It's starting to pop up with some of the changes to new items. I am a big fan of it, and APA is quite good on it. So it makes sense to just get that out of the picture there. You're seeing Kindred more bans towards Yuji. They're not convinced that the Gragas is going to him, even though he's very confident and comfortable on that pick. So it is a safe blind in the top side for Faisal. We'll see what else they want to be prioritizing. And wow, it's just another 80 carry. I mean, if they haven't picked it, it's good. They're going to punish it a little bit. Limit what is left here. And at this point, from what we know of Arrow, Jinx is the only answer, in my opinion.
Yeah, Jinx could fit fairly well here. We'll see what they end up going for. I want to look at this last ban, because if this is another jungle ban, even though you guys Olaf probably more of a top lane ban,
watch.
There's not much that's a bigger, stroke of your ego than getting completely targeted. Yuji is completely limited in his champ pool. Maybe it's the Gragas. Otherwise, let's see if FlyQuest want to lock something else in for him here.
Yeah, the Wukong ban makes me really think it's Jinx that we're going to see here. But for the moment, I think from what we've seen, it's probably going to be Gragas in the top side. It's so good at the moment. It's getting pretty hard nerfed on the coming patch in 13-12. So it makes sense. Just use it while you can, and it's good for team fights. And there it is. We talked about it. Yuji's bringing out the Kha'Zix again, and it's tough. Like, so many bans to this jungle, but you still have something that's going to pair up really well with the Yuumi, because it's not just about what you can do for the 80 carry. It's jumping in with the Bruiser, the big damage dealer in the jungle.
Do you happen to have the stats up right now? Which game did Yuji play the Kha'Zix in? I actually don't have it on hand.
Ooh, I don't remember. I watched so many VODs in a day. It was like in the first
I want to see what he played it into and how well he looked. We're hearing from Magical. It was the very first game of the season into Kindred. So
shout out Magical.
Vi's a little different champion than Kindred. This could be rough. You do want to be able to blow targets up. I'm looking at a Vi Cassante as targets that will not get blown up easily. But you were right, beat them. Jinx is locked in for Arrow, and then they pair it with the Ahri.
Yeah, that's all that's left, considering all the meta 80 carries. I haven't really seen Arrow play much of the Kog'Maw or anything, so that's it. We have our comps coming through here. I like the Annie. It's just continuing that kind of all-in focus here, where I'm really just expecting both of these teams to kind of like pass each other by in terms of front lines and just go jumping into the back lines. You have Vi, Ahri, like, we want Masu out of the picture. You have Yuji Spirax on the Kha'Zix and the Annie. They want Arrow out of the picture, and it's literally just going to be like, all right, who kills him first?
Yeah. And with the Enchanters on both the carries, it's not going to be an easy task necessarily to kill them. Melio, just that one Q can just completely shut down a Kha'Zix's entire combo. So another kind of difficult hurdle for Yuji to get over here. It's a tough position, though. I mean, when there's 4 bans, arguably 5 bans put against you, might as well go back to something that did go 9-4-2 in their first game of the split. Very impressive performance from Yuji. Again, a player who's hit Challenger on multiple different ladders. Coming in from Mongolia, he hit it on the Chinese Super Server, on EU, and then even on NA now. So I believe maybe Cubby would know this. Beatdown, maybe you would too. Has he hit Korea or Challenger on Korea yet? Is that the last one to hit?
Who are we talking about?
Yuji.
Oh, geez, I'm not sure.
I don't remember if he hadn't or if he just recently did, but either way, impressive player. As we're loaded onto the Rift for game number 1, Team Liquid Challengers versus FlyQuest Challengers. Let us know in chat who you are rooting for, as there's no early invades, just going to be a play for Vision.
Yeah, not expecting too much craziness right off the bat, however. Maybe just a little fight for Vision. Just a reminder, hey, Yuji, this is, you got to walk away. He actually doesn't want to walk away, though. The rest of the team is starting to show up. Oh, hold on.
Now APA might have to flash here. Oh,
no, he's okay.
Out on the Prowling Projectile. Oh. There we go. Trade of flashes, Spyrax for APA.
All right, so there's going to be the trade of flashes. That opens up an interesting opportunity. I mean, Ari is that champion post-level 6. Really hard to gank her. So there's going to be that opportunity in these early minutes for Yuji. APA, if he's out of position, you get that early kill, get the ball rolling for Spyrax in the mid lane. And we were talking about the Milio. You mentioned the Milio Q. Something I think really interesting about FlyQuest comp is, yeah, the Milio Q can kind of mess with Faisal Yuji, but it can't really do anything about Spyrax just dropping the Tibbers and things like that. So there's still something that's still something Arrow is going to have to be very aware of in these team fights.
As we see the junglers starting off here. Yuji in the top quadrant as well as Mir, so it will be matching each other as they path towards the bottom side. Still a meta where if you get your bot laners ahead, that can be great success for you. But I'm looking at mid lane, actually. Both of these mid laners with their CC abilities can set up junglers for ganks.
Right.
And neither of them have flash. So we're in a very interesting game state. It's very rare that we start off games already where mid lane is a viable gank option.
Yeah, and you can see APA has to back off because, I mean, they both have gank setup, but at this early point, like, the gank setup is so much better from Annie. Like, you just have a point-and-click stun.
True.
You don't have to skill shot through the minions or something like that. So now Spyrax just wants to lay down some vision, just get an idea on what Mir's pathing is going to be like, because that's honestly something that's really important for TLC. Mir is that player who in this early game, his pathing, his creative decision-making has opened up a lot of opportunities in the early game for TLC. So being able to track him is very crucial against this team.
Spyrax AP, of course, mid laners that have a little bit of history, both coming in from Maryville University. I saw them actually sitting with each other at the CLOL finals where they were watching Maryville versus UST.
Oh, nice.
So fun to see a little bit of camaraderie between the two. Right now, Spyrax with that earlier shove over APA was controlling the the push as well as the experience lead. So they know that Mir was on that camp. We got a lot of aggression bot lane as they trade here. But Spyrax should know that Mir is nearby. That's a flash out of Mir, though. Reminder, Spyrax does not have the flash from the earlier play. Easy charm follow-up and first blood to APA.
And there it is. You're seeing it pay off. APA letting that early wave push in, but oh, wow.
Gonna try and get flash out of Arrow here.
Yeah, he has
should
to.
not fall. That's heal from Kim down. There's the flash at the very last moment.
Wow.
And Masu almost gets it regardless.
Wow. Waiting to the last moment there for Arrow and Kim down, but that's a big W here for the FlyQuest bottom lane because you got all summoners out from Arrow and Kim down. Gonna leave an opportunity for Yuji to get some of these early objectives, go for the invade we're seeing at this moment, and even set up for a dive in these coming minutes. So it's a really good start there from Masu and Winsome.
I really like this from Yuji because when Mir went from red buff immediately to that mid gank, Spyrax should have been communicating, okay, we know that he didn't go for the Krugs. Because otherwise he would not have been able to get here fast enough. So Yuji realizes Krugs are up. There's not much for Mir to get with the counter invade topside. There's no camps up. And now with no summoner spells bot, no, they don't go for the dive. That's a giant wave. Kim Down's walking up to stop the backs. Wait, Yuji's here. Oh, they're not going to go for it. Okay.
Oh, no. You want to recall. You want to get back onto the map there as Yuji. You don't want to go for this play. So it is a big deal, though, that you do slow down. That would have been a really nice back timer for Masu Winsome. Now it's slightly delayed. And things are just going to go back to slowing down. That bot lane pressure is still going to be something to keep an eye on, though, Kangas, because at the end of the day, Summoners still down for Arrow and Kim down. I'm keeping my eye on this bug in Yuji, on the Kaze, to go down to that side of the map and start capitalizing. Set this Jinx behind so she never scales.
Here's on the other side of the map. If observers can take a look at the wave state bot lane, I think it's going to crash under the turret. I believe it was bouncing back.
It was, yes.
So UG does have a window here. But no, instead goes mid. APA still doesn't have the flash either. And you talked about the setup of Spyrax on the Annie. Very easy for the Annie to get
Spyrax
that
has the
stun,
splashback.
guarantee it. Flash up. There we go. Right in onto APA. And they claim the kill. Traded back this time. Spyrax picks it up.
There it is. A lot of mid lane action here as it's starting to pick up some. This game's starting to pick up the pace a little bit. No action so far on the top side, but we're seeing everyone just kind of go back to farming here. So this is good because Spyrax getting this extra gold. Annie's combo, if you've played League of Legends in the mid lane, even in any lane against an Annie, you know what it's about. She can pop you very, very quickly, and it gets really irritating if she's ahead. So Spyrax getting this gold just makes the threat onto the life of Arrow, APA, the squishier members of TLC, that much more dangerous there. So even though we're not really seeing much objective action on the spotted side of the map, picking up that extra gold is good for FlyQuest.
Yeah, that's a good lead for Spyrax, but Mir has started the objective. Dragon's up, and Mir taking it down. UG was on the top half of the map. Now they know, okay, Vi was down bot lane. Masu and Winsome are in a very safe position. UG gets another reset off here, but the early Dragon for TLC, even if they have a just barely gold deficit, starts the stack for them. Could be a late game win condition.
We'll see. For now, FlyQuest, I mean, one, Soul's not really something that they are too concerned about here. Late game, I think, favors them quite a bit. As long as they pick up one dragon realistically, everything's fine. You're just denying that win soul condition, that dragon soul win condition, excuse me. Rift Herald is what I'm more interested in, because we have this bot lane who has a pretty decent amount of pressure going on here for Masu and Winsome, and it's either going to set up for a dive or that opportunity to get that early reset and walk over to the Rift Herald here. We don't usually see a team rotate their Aphelios to the top side for Herald, but it could really be that extra bit of power to get a really strong early objective.
UG's mid lane again. Flashes
He has ult.
APA, but if Spyrax gets the stun, APA's got to be very careful right now.
He's not going to get caught.
He's playing very
knows.
respectful. APA's got this insane danger sense. Very rarely do I see APA actually die to these kinds of mid lane plays. He plays very respectful, and often on a knife's edge where he will kind of force you to think, or bait you rather, into thinking that you have a play when you actually don't. So UG, I don't believe he showed on the mid wave. Maybe he finds something with this invade.
Oh, maybe. Level 6 available for both. UG in a really strong... Oh, yeah, this is looking good.
Mir's just going to walk up, isolated damage from the Kazakhs. Big burst onto Mir, and he's following up. That's flash.
He's got
follow
him.
from UG. He's just going to take him down in the 1v1. No contest.
Really nice use of the prio that he's gotten in both his solo laners here. Now he's going to walk away with the blue buff, that extra gold. Look at what Faisal's doing as well. Now he can proxy. He's not afraid of Vi showing up because Mir just respawned. So it just means that this Herald is guaranteed. No need for AD carry.
Ooh, nice from Kim down there to speed up Arrow, keep him alive. Flash was off cooldown, or rather on cooldown still. Masu and Winsome not getting the kill down there. But yeah, good luck banning out UG, anybody. Because this reminder was 4 bans against him, and he still manages a solo kill against his jungle opposition.
Right, and this is going to be that opportunity, actually, where FlyQuest back off the Herald. It's going to leave that opening for Mir to go ahead and grab it for himself. Mir does have the ult while UG used his in that skirmish, so it's likely FlyQuest didn't want to go for it, not as guaranteed. They'd rather just go back to farming, building up gold in other ways. And as long as UG responds to the play that Mir goes for and sets up with the Herald, you neutralize it, you're still in a fine position as FlyQuest.
It's actually a really good point. The fact that even though Mir goes down, they still get the objective, and Mir's not like cripplingly far behind the Kazakhs. No. I don't know the matchup well enough to know if this is still, you know, just the start of the snowball for Kazakhs. Is going for an invade, so actually could be. Red buff is up, just spawned, so UG can take this one away. So maybe we actually see this lead grow larger for UG, but it's still big for Mir to grab the objective.
Yeah, I like this from UG again. Like, you have so much... Oh, hold on.
Oh, Masu's taking a lot of damage right here. Arrow and Kim down, but now they're boxing gloves.
What?
And win the trade. Winsome surely goes down here. That is 2 kills over to Team Liquid bot lane. UG looking for another one onto Mir, though. No flash available on the Vi. Uses the ultimate, but we've seen this song and dance before. With the backup of APA, Mir will get out, but Yuji still cementing himself in the jungle. That bot lane, huge for Team Liquid.
That's insane. Like, things were going fine. Masu and Winsome had a small lead going, and the fact is they had bottom lane control. But what matters here is you saw the stun come through, and Masu gets stuck under the turret, holds onto his flash, doesn't want to try flashing over the wall, and Arrow picks up the double kill. That is really big because now there's a tremendous lead suddenly gained by this Jinx, a champion who we know who gets early kills in the bot lane can turn them into just insane performances later on. And this is just a big turnaround here for TLC. No jungle attention required.
You gotta respect Emilio. This support is insane at buffing up his AD carry. Probably
good.
The best in the game right now. It gives them extra damage, extra shielding, extra attack range, healing as well. Like everything you want from an enchanter.
Yeah.
And Yuumi is also annoying, but just doesn't quite pack the same abilities in the kit. So I think that Masu wins some learning that, but the veteran getting the better of this bot lane matchup so far. We saw Masu and Winsome get the early summoner spells, but they were not able to punish at all. And now Aaron and Kim down coming back in.
Yeah, they got punished instead, and it's not the end of the world. Remember, we talked about in Champ Select, both of these comps looking to dive the back line. So Arrow, even with the gold, still has his work cut out for him a bit in that he needs to avoid people like Yuji getting on top of them because, you know, it's still an AD carry moment. You can be as fed as you want, but 2-item Kha'Zix is going to pop you like a balloon. So that's why a lot of pressure is on how they team fight.
Yeah, so Team Liquid looks like they want to start the action early here. Mir goes in and steals the dragon. It's on to Yuji as well, now trying to get out of there. Teamfight might go FlyQuest's way, but yet again, Team Liquid get the objective. Bradley on a flank. He wants to continue the fight. Jumps in, gets two! Arrow picking up one of them. Charm over the wall, sidestep by Masu, but Bradley's here. Do they go for the dive? All out, not used. Flash was committed. Masu survives. But Team Liquid still feeling great about that play.
No, it's amazing. You get the steal and you walk away with the 2-for-1. You get to continue dragon stacking and Jinx continues to just pick up gold. Mir finds the angle and the objective steal. And this is something we've just seen from him so much. One of the things we loved about watching him in team fights. And oh, hold on.
Okay, I actually think Masu does win this. Bradley goes all out, has red-white, never mind. There we have it.
Moment.
Doing Kasante things in a 1v2 with a single item, and he takes the double. Bradley showing up huge.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of disrespect, but we're going to take a look at this replay here again. The TP from APA, this is what this combo is so good at here, the Vi and the Ahri. They get on top of someone like Spirax, they put the damage through. Even though they lose someone, look at this. It's the arrow, it's the flash from APA at that last moment, pushing these limits to be able to help secure Team Liquid more kills.
I talked about the Vi being able to set things up and then having range to follow up. Ahri, Jinx providing that. They didn't even need the Vi setup as Mir used the ult to get the steal. And it was just the icing on the cake there. Bradley picking up that double. Now FlyQuest looking for their own play. Gold lead massive for Team Liquid. Yuji was spotted on that ward, so won't find anything. Team Liquid find themselves in a very comfortable gold lead.
And remember the Rift Herald I talked about? Yuji not able to stop it. So this Jinx just ends up picking up more gold for themselves. Arrow in a very strong commanding position. He's gotten that first item built up. So is Masu. And so far, we're seeing the coordination from TLC. This roster that has not changed one bit from spring really start to come through.
The only one that competed in the NACL in spring that changed no members coming into summer. Team Liquid seemed committed to this roster. Mir, of course, also winning MVP in the spring. This is a roster that should be feared, and even though we had FlyQuest, many of us have had FlyQuest as the favorites coming in the summer split. Team Liquid showing why their name is also in that conversation early on. Great performances from individual members, but specifically Bradley here taking the 1v1 against Masu, Winsome, and now might even get Faisal too. Has the help of Mir coming in. Faisal's gonna have to try and get out of this one. Has explosive cast still. That's the teleport coming in. Actually, trying to keep Team Liquid in the fight for as long as possible. Will give his life in the process. He survives! And FlyQuest turned the play out. The snipe from Arrow will grab one. But it is a 2-for-1 in favor of FlyQuest, committing to saving their top laner.
Wow, it must have been some kind of bait there. Really nicely done either way from FlyQuest. Props to Arrow for being able to at least get something for TLC's troubles on the bottom side. But it's still FlyQuest. We're not out of this one yet. Looking for whatever angle they can get across the map. And the fact that you're getting gold on Kha'Zix is huge.
To APA.
Oh, yeah, he's
getting all that CC down, and Yuji with the easy cleanup will not fall to the turret or to the wave. All right, FlyQuest even grabbed one at the tail end.
Really not.
Oh! Okay, here comes Bradley, the revenge tour. They don't even get the turret. Maybe you just stick around and give your life for it.
No, they gotta go. It's the Hex map, so it's okay.
Yeah, and it's not even the bounty, the objective for first turret, as the top turret already went down. Arrow got pretty fed here. We'll see the rocket snipe with the replay, but it starts off with the 1v1.
Yeah, we got a little action going on in the mid lane as well. Arrow flexing the gold lead, but in this replay, you see it. FlyQuest, a little interesting movement there. I guess he was just looking as juicy as possible, and it pays off because you see Yuji coming through here. APA just a little bit too far behind to help save it. And now, Masu?
Okay. Arrow seems pretty safe right now, yeah. Emilio Ultimate being a cleanse built into your kit, very annoying. Actually trying to get on top of this Jinx, and Arrow is feeling himself right now. 4-0-1. We didn't see it in the replay, but got the rocket snipe as well as the top turret. So this Jinx is very accelerated. I'd actually love to take another look at the gold to see just how far ahead Arrow is right now.
He's got to be in a really good position, too. Just seeing the items he's built, the gold he's been able to pick up. He got a turret in the top side after that rocket snipe, and you can see it. He's ahead of everyone else in the game. A good bit of second place to his APA, and it's just in time. He spent his gold. He gets back on the map. Oh, hold on.
Okay, well, a nice assassination right there. Spyrax, Masu, and Winsome all getting some kill credits. Well, we still see the gold didn't change that much. Masu 2,000 behind Arrow right now. Happy we were able to highlight that. But a pick right before Dragon is actually huge for FlyQuest.
Exactly.
They can stop the stacking for Team Liquid.
Yeah, that's the big thing there. They know Arrow, as fed as all can be, is going to just take them apart in a straight-up 5v5, so they use that pick potential. It has allowed FlyQuest to, albeit a little later than they hoped, stall the Dragon Soul stacking that TLC have been getting for themselves early on. No steal coming through here, so TL will just be fine with stealing away whatever jungle camps they can. FlyQuest still falling quite a bit behind, but you see them getting these small wins across the board. Right now, they still have a very fed Jinx to contend with, and it's straight up 5v5s. They don't have those.
And a reminder that Arrow was also banned out. You know, Yuji's flexing, like, you gave me 4 bans, I'm 3-1-3. Arrow's like, hey, you gave me 3 bans, I'm 4-0-1. Come on, get my name in the conversation as well. Showing why he's been in the scene for so long, why he's so respected.
Right, I mean, a player who has been around for quite a long time, has that veterancy, has that consistency, realistically, that we've seen so often. It's what made that bot lane matchup so interesting to us, something we were highlighting in the pre-show. And it's really starting to pay off there for Arrow. I mean, Kim Down, a player who we credited for improving a good bit last year, especially come playoffs time. A good part of why TLC were able to get as far as they did in top 3. And, FlyZone.
Might get a scrap here.
We might.
Arrow will get excited off of the turret. And FlyQuest do not take the bait. They don't walk too far forward. That is a Herald drops, though. How hard do Team Liquid want to commit? They have everybody down here. All 5 members. Pushing in one wave. Okay. Faisal has to flash there. A little sloppy as he gets pulled back in. And Team Liquid are committing to the play. Spyrax will try and get the shove. Doesn't have an obvious ward to TP to. Just that one control ward over that wall. Should be spotted by Team Liquid. What do FlyQuest want to do here?
Yeah,
okay, he's going for the play. Teleport flank, but a dive from Team Liquid. They say the only way out is just deeper in, I guess. And they do claim the turret as well.
He's coming.
Fight their way out now. They already got Faisal. Spyrax with a big ult onto Arrow. Can they get the assassination? He's down! Shut down! Credited to Yuji. APA will claim the revenge kill. What can Masu do? Kim Down and APA are here. He's just got a Yumi on top of him, but not enough damage. And that is a pickup for Kim Down now. Winsome's got nobody to jump on. An ace for Team Liquid, and they only give up 2.
Wow, really nice decisive play. They saw Annie on the wave, and TLC pull the trigger, and now they cement their lead even further. It's up to 5,000. Even though they lost Arrow in the process, the damage is done. And look at this. The TP has already happened. Spyrax is only just now getting here after so much damage is done. So the gold lead really starts to come through, even though Yuji got the shutdown, even though Masu was putting in good damage. The fact that Spyrax wasn't able to show up sooner than he did was a big part of why this wasn't going to work.
It's those tiny moments where as soon as the anti-ult goes down, ideally, you'll have the Kazakhs on top of the Jinx at the same time. There was just like a 2-second delay. Arrow got to a better position, which meant Yuji was deeper in, can't get that reset and jump out. Now we're back to live. Baron spawned. We saw a little bit of a scrap in that top jungle. Nobody goes down. But FlyQuest, you see how much they have to fight just to control their own side of the rift. Team Liquid have done a great job of keeping up the aggression, keeping the push, and making FlyQuest fight for every inch.
It certainly helps that most of the tier 1s on this side of the map are still up for TLC, so you can't push these waves too deeply. It's so easy for TLC to get a push in, to walk in and set up vision, just like we saw here. And FlyQuest has to take this opportunity now to, do the dance. But if we look at the topside jungle, it is riddled with blue wards for TLC. It's so hard. They have to group with Masu so he doesn't get jumped on mid. They have to group together now as they clear vision. It's really the only way to get themselves just a tiny bit of breathing room in hopes that they might get a decent fight.
FlyQuest do have the control over the side of the river nearest mid lane. Team Liquid controlling from top approach. But it's about the dragon in a minute's time. So now I expect a lot of that vision investment to start moving, but it's a flash from Spyrax. They want the play APA!
Just like that.
The mid laner. Teleport in from Bradley, but I think the play is already over unless FlyQuest want even more. Nicely done from Spyrax, finding the pick onto his mid lane opposition. Could be Baron.
Yeah, it's 5 versus 4. You got a lot of damage on TLC's side. FlyQuest still have to play for the turn, but they are forcing Team Liquid to come to them. Mir, he always finds these angles. He always finds these clutch team fight wins. Keep an eye on the Vi.
Keep an eye on the Jinx as well. Arrow's trying to pepper down FlyQuest. It's still very early into the game. Years into the pay. They're going to go for the fight instead. That's a massive crit onto Yuji from Arrow. The Jinx with all that from Bradley's enough to take down Faisal. And now they engage onto the carry. Masu's in trouble.
Arrow's resetting.
Arrow's unleashed. And another ace with a triple kill to Arrow. Team Liquid will earn the Baron.
Huge clutch up there from Team Liquid Challengers. FlyQuest, it was a good call to try and make the Miracle Baron come through, but TLC are too strong. They will get the Baron. They will get their soul point, and they've taken everything from FlyQuest in Game 1.
7-1-7 for Arrow. 2-0-12 for Kim Down means a 9-1-19 KDA between the two of them. Absolutely insane. Let's get another look at this.
Yeah, and I love it. You see Mir come in from the side. TLC taking this fight on multiple fronts. The fact that you just need the one reset for Arrow and you use the all-out from the Cassante to make it happen means all this damage onto the grouped-up FlyQuest is an easy pickup for Team Liquid.
The Mega Death Rocket plus a crit just chunked out Yuji from basically 100% to 20% health, and he was like, okay, well, I'm out of there.
Yep.
And it was a good pick initially from Team Liquid onto APA, but then going for that early of a Baron against this kind of composition is always a scary move, and Team Liquid showing their veteranship. This is the roster that has no changes in these high-pressure situations.
Right.
They have a full split of experience to pull from of how they want to approach it.
And we're just seeing this gold graph, seeing just what a swing has come through here. That slight lead for FlyQuest in the early game has gone into what's basically an upside-down mountain for the side of Team Liquid Challengers. In firm control of this first game, they're using this Baron well to take down these turrets, to flush FlyQuest out of their own jungle, and they have to sacrifice so much health to just get a small amount of vision.
Masu feeling himself right now.
Nice charm.
We're logging on Faisal. That charm was huge. APA goes for even more. Gets a
Really
double
nice.
kill. Masu's going to have to put in some overtime right now. Getting surrounded. The walls are closing in. A triple kill to APA. And a quadra kill to close out the fight. Team Liquid roar to life. Not giving an inch to FlyQuest Challengers and take a fairly easy and blitzing fast Game 1.
There are not enough hours in the day for Masu to clutch that one up, and FlyQuest will fall in the first game to a very powerful Team Liquid Challengers.
APA putting in work in that last fight. Arrow putting in work the whole game. Masu's hyped up, but Arrow putting it back into his place, saying, hey, this is what veteranship gives you on the Rift. knowing what to do in those moments, outplaying in the 2v2s. Fantastic performance from Team Liquid Challengers, and the roster seems like it's coming together, getting the better of their challengers opposition on the Rift in Game 1. But that's only one game. We got another one coming up here after the break, so we're going to send it to a short break before we're back with Magical for the Rally Cry halftime show.